Hey, don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video.
Are you ready?
Fasten your seatbelts.
Drivers, start your engines.
Race activated. Sheer passion. Change the game forever.
Ladies and gentlemen, we give you Racing with Celebs.
Welcome to our Season 2 finale of Racing with Celebs, the show where we put celebrities through their paces and keep you updated on your favorite hobby. Our word for the day is Lap of Honor, a non-competitive lap taken before or after the race by a driver in celebration, also known as a Lap of Honor or as it is referred to, Victory Lap. This word speaks volumes to this special episode we are dedicating to the men and women who are our frontline workers during this pandemic, risking their lives so that we can heal from this not only individually but as a nation. One of the people on the front line of this fight against COVID-19 is no one else than Medi Response COO Saul Behrmann. Saul has been working in the pre-hospital emergency environment for over 15 years. He has a diploma as well as a degree in pre-hospital emergency medicine. He has a wealth of global experience, including 3 years in Iraq. Saul has been the COO of one of Africa's foremost and well-established emergency services, Medi Response, for 9 months. Over to you, my co-host, Johan Snyman.
Thanks, Donovan. This is indeed a very special episode for all of us at Racing with Celebs. Our country has been hit hard by this pandemic. Hello, my name is Johan Snyman and today we are at Base 4 in Pretoria for some off-road racing. Rivaro Motorsport forms part of the Rivaro group of companies. The Falcon range has the necessary specifications and performance to satisfy any serious off-road and 4x4 enthusiast. It's now time to introduce you to our special celebrity for today, Saul Behrmann. Saul, welcome to Racing with Celebs. It's an honor for us to have you on the show.
Thank you very much for having me. Looking forward to it.
Have you ever done something like this before?
No, this is my first time.
And your expectations for today?
Sure, just have a good time and get involved and take it to the limit, I suppose.
And are you nervous, excited?
Quite nervous, but very excited.
Well, let's do the safety briefing and we can go.
Awesome, looking forward to it.
Up next on Racing with Celebs, we get into the action here at Base 4 and Rivaro Motorsport's Falcon. Welcome to this edition of Racing with Celebrities, proudly brought to you by all our associate sponsors. And this time we're doing a big tribute to all those men and ladies that have been working so hard in the front lines during COVID-19 and the quarantine. Saul Behrmann will show you exactly what it's all about. And Frick Stechman will come and join me as well in the commentary to take us through Rivaro Motorsports Off-Road Park here in Base 4 Centurion. Saul Behrmann, of course, has started a 15-year career in the medical fraternity, but of course he's also into the sound engineering side of things, and it's great to have him here in base for Centurion as part of Rivara Motorsports' introduction to racing with celebrities. Frick, you can see he decided to stay with that hazmat suit the entire day, and you sitting there comfortably in a set of jeans and a shirt, which is a lot easier to be in when you're driving these kind of vehicles in these kind of conditions.
Yes, definitely, Greg. His vision was definitely impaired with the shield, with the face shield that he had on. But I think as a dedication to the hard work that these guys did during the pandemic, it was an awesome effort from him. He suffered in the heat. It was like a sauna out there, and my hat goes off to him, definitely.
Well, it's kind of what everybody's been doing in these very, very trying times, especially at the front line where you're dealing with it sort of in your face every single day. And unfortunately, you have no choice. Those hazmat suits, the masks, the gloves, and the face shields have to be worn by all of our frontline workers. So an incredible effort here, not only from your side, but from Saul's point of view, to try and hang in there for the entire day.
Yeah, that's definitely so. This was just the beginning of the course that we did, but by the end of the day, he couldn't wait to get out of that suit.
It was a lot easier last time for Carleen, I'm sure, even though she had leather pants on, a little bit hotter than most people would be wearing. But of course, it just shows you that the dedication that's been put out there from all of our guys and girls involved in the front line has been incredible over this time period. Coming up to another one of the obstacles now. This is obstacle 3. Like the instruction that's been given there. Similar instruction that you would have given to Carleen, first time out for him in a 4x4 vehicle?
Absolutely, yeah. He had a bit of trouble getting himself orientated with the pedal control, but once he was accustomed to it, it went much better. Also here, teaching them to first drop the nose, see what you can expect down the bottom. On this particular obstacle, you have to hold it on the brakes, and I warned them the car will slide down. There's nothing that will hold it. It will slide down. Don't panic. Just let the car go do its own thing, and just keep the wheels straight, basically.
Now, basically, this will work very similar to what any 4x4 would do. If you're in the first gear and you've got it into the all-wheel drive system that the Rivara Motorsport cars have got, and this Falcon has, if you let the clutch out, it basically will allow the vehicle to decide its own route in terms of the amount of power that gets put out, and slows the vehicle down, I'm sure, when you're in a dangerous situation like that.
Yes, the fact that it's a petrol engine, obviously it hasn't got that major decompression as what a diesel engine would have. But with a low first gear ratio, it does give you a good braking advantage, on the drawback of the
So you
motor.
can use the engine braking then?
Yes.
Well, that's fantastic, man. These little cars, of course, this is the 1500 version of it, and I think you said it's got a really decent amount of torque available to it, even though it's petrol driven.
Yes, it's a 80 kilowatt motor, 1500cc 80 kilowatt motor, and it makes 140 newton meter torque.
That's very, very good. You can see it'll be used nicely here as you head up a slight incline. Not too difficult, I'm sure, here, because it's the slate there is not too bad. But what's the traction like in terms of the tyres that you get to put on these stock standard?
The most important thing of it, Greg, is the tyre pressures, depending on the terrain that you're going to do. So here we're negotiating a very rocky part with some rock steps that you have to climb, so to preserve your tyres, the tyre pressures obviously has to be very carefully monitored. And then sandy conditions would be a different setting on the tyres, or a different tyre pressure. But so it's a bit difficult to get an average tyre pressure that'll accommodate all different types of terrain. I think on the front here we're running 1 bar, and on the rear tyres 1.2 bar, which we felt would be suitable for the whole of base 4. Yeah.
Slightly fatter tacky on the back as well, by the looks of things,
yes.
Giving you a little bit more traction on the back wheel. And that, of course, is because it also has a 2-wheel drive option to it, hey?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, then you want the traction on the rear wheels when you start playing,
And you mentioned it last time with Colleen that even though they're doing low speed, you can engage the 2-wheel drive and the 4-wheel drive during and on the fly, but you have to be completely stationary if you want to lock up those diffs.
Yes, absolutely. No, because the diffs has got a physical pin that when you pull the lever, It's a manual system, so when you pull the lever to engage the diff lock, it actually pushes a pin into the pinion gear of the diff, which then locks it up. So you have to be perfectly stationary to do that. But the on-the-fly 4x2 selection is a electric switch on the dashboard, so it's easy. You just hit it and it goes.
So ease of use is pretty good on these vehicles then for a sort of a novice or a rookie in these kind of situations.
Absolutely. No, it's a very user-friendly car. It's got a standard dashboard, indicating your speed, the RPM, a fuel gauge in it. It's got hazard lights on it. So, I mean, just look at that articulation there now again, going through the axle twister.
What's the situation when you get into that, and if you do get one wheel off the ground, does it sort of put the power into the other three wheels that are around the vehicle? Or let's have a look and see. In fact, let's go and have a look and see exactly what Saul is about to do, and let's let him take you through the next part of this obstacle.
We're gonna do stuntman stuff here. Cool. You're gonna take off in first, give it gas, hit second, and then we're gonna sum it in second gear.
Super.
All right? If you can get the front wheels in the air, it'll be good. Okay?
Super.
Do not do something that you're not comfortable with. The car can take it, I can take it. Do not do something that you are not comfortable with.
Super.
All right? The idea is first, second gear immediately, and we throw it up here.
Awesome.
All right? Stand by. Okay.
Hang on a second. If you told me to do that, bud, I would have given it a stick up there, Frick. We definitely would have got some airtime, buddy. That was pretty impressive, though.
Yeah, no, for sure. We didn't get the wheels in the air. I think the run-up was too slow. If you peak out the top there in third, possibly fourth. But then your run-off area on the other side is very rocky, so it wasn't really
Okay.
the
It could have got out of shape, in other words.
Yeah.
Fortunately, you got a medical man with you, so you'll be okay.
Yeah, well, he's strapped in,
No, that was great to see. And of course, here's another great example of how those wheels, as I mentioned earlier on the axle twisters, basically giving you power through the three wheels that are on the ground. And you can see the one in the air turning, although it's not been able to generate the power because of it not being, of course, against the traction area.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, with three wheels, and even if you do get stuck, we never once used the diff locks on this whole of this course. Not once. So it wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
So that is just normal four-wheel drive that we are using there.
And it's a pretty capable four-wheel drive system that's in this, that's for sure. Now, we mentioned this in Carlene's show, of course, the turning circle of the car, not that great, but when it comes to four-wheel drive, it's, of course, a lot of four-wheel drive vehicles have that disability. They don't have a great turning circle. And if you're in competition, of course, and you do take a rollback, like we've just seen there, that would be costly in terms of points gained on that obstacle.
Yes, no, definitely so. But then again, once you get to know the car and its limitations, you can adapt, and get to learn how to cut a corner to be able to make the corner.
Or possibly come into it a bit hotter to get the back end out and slide it rally style, as opposed to having to worry about doing some three-point turns. And also worrying about other 4x4s that are on the track at the same time. You can see the 4x4 club on the side there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Have you got a lot of guys involved in the 4x4 club there?
Yes, we're looking for younger blood to join up, because all of us are getting older at the club. So it will be great to see some young guys getting enthusiastic and joining up with the four-wheel drive club. They are very big on overland excursions, into Africa and so on. So those are awesome experiences, So it'll be nice to get some young blood in there.
Fantastic. Well, looks like we're heading down towards the mud pit again. So we saw a little bit of action last week. Let's have a look and see. This is quite steep, this section, though, before we get to those muddy sections that we saw Carlene go a little bit haywire through. There you see the engine working hard, and of course the engine braking coming into play there a little bit too on the steepness of the obstacle. And what goes in has to come out as well, I suppose.
Yeah, no, this was, definitely so. The engine brake was used there. Here we're going up the back fence of the property, going to the top where we're going to descend then into the mud pit area.
I think a lot of guys will be super excited to go and have there. Especially if you're in a hazmat suit, you don't have to worry about getting dirty. That's going to be the ideal suit to have on when you're going through the mud. And especially if you push it as hard as what you told Colleen to do on the last episode.
Yeah, no, you have to wear old clothes, definitely, because none of the cleaning products on the market takes out that mud spots,
that's for sure. Oh, it's great to see. But this, of course, is part of our new section of Racing with Celebrities. For a long time, it's concentrated on the tarmac side of things and on circuit racing, but it is fantastic to have an opportunity with the Four Wheel Drive Club and you guys here at Base 4 to give our celebrities a chance to experience some off-road action.
Yeah, no, Greg, definitely. It's a very big privilege to be part of the Racing with Celebs team and being able to offer this. Let's see what he's doing here.
You told him to hit it through here. This is heading towards the mud, but here we go. Oh, yes, that's the way to do it. Get it sideways and get a bit of wetness out there. Look at this from onboard. Pushing it a bit harder than what we have seen. Oh, a little understeer and some mud all over the GoPro. Yeah, Billy and Johanna are going to be very happy about that, having to clean that camera after this one. Thanks for that, Saul. So there you have it. Saul Behrmann getting into the action and now into obstacle number 12. Easy in, easy out. I suppose that's a good way of doing things here.
Yeah, very important to observe first. Steep downhill here. It's not so clear on the, viewing it as, from a camera point of view. But when you're in the car, it's a very steep downhill there, and then immediately a rocky patch where you have to be very careful and go slow for the preservation of the car. You cannot jam up the suspension there or knock through,
or possibly even have an opportunity of a puncture.
Yeah.
Because you're running such low tire pressures. If you get one of those very, very sharp rocks, it could potentially puncture the tire as well.
Yes. This is the other mud pit, which you had to negotiate very slowly because it's got a steep step going or leading into the pit, and just on the other side there's a small step that you have to climb out of. You'll see when we hop, there we go, you see that one there? So this one you couldn't do it with speed, this was more a tricky one to negotiate,
Technique being in probably the most important part through there. But let's catch up with Saul now and find out how his day went.
So, driving experience is done. How was the experience?
Absolutely awesome. Getting into the mud, up the embankments, really enjoyed it.
And what about the course that you enjoyed the most?
Definitely the mud, yeah.
Join us after the break as we catch up with Saul Behrmann and find out what's happening at the front line with this incredible COVID-19 pandemic.
We are back with our special episode for Racing with Celeb. Saul, you've been involved in the medical field for over 15 years. How did you end up in the medical field?
So when I was in school, I found a love for medical rescue and got involved in the fire department. And over the years built up my qualifications and expanded my knowledge within the field. And as I progressed, I found a more inclusive love for the medical field itself in the pre-hospital environment.
Can you just describe a typical day in the life of a paramedic?
So the typical day would usually start out very early in the morning, where the guys get ready for work, and usually shift starts around 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. We work 12-hour shifts at a time, and get to work, prepare the vehicles, check the equipment, make sure everything's ready for the day, make sure the guys are mentally prepared for whatever they may be dispatched to, and then it's a nice cup of coffee and discussions until the dispatchers let us know that there's a case that we need to respond out to. So that's how we get going.
Can you describe the most challenging phone call you have ever received, or call to a scene?
So over the years, I've dealt with many crazy and hectic calls. The ones that stand out are normally the ones that involve children.
Yes.
and making those clinical and critical decisions that they can't make those decisions for themselves.
Yes.
Those types of calls usually get to me because a child doesn't know right from wrong. They put into scenarios or situations and they can't choose how the outcome should be. So when we get dispatched to a case where a child is involved, the mental process that we go through is a lot, or in my side, is different to when we're going out to an adult.
Yes.
So children involved in critical instances, car accidents, etc. Those are challenging calls for myself, and I do believe a lot of other paramedics in the EMS.
Yes. And how do you remain calm while working in difficult situations?
I do believe it comes down to two things. Your training, we go through rigorous training as paramedics, and then also experience. If you've dealt with a case similar to that one before, it helps you and guides you through the process of the next one. So combining the two of them, it helps us process and ensure that our patients receive the best care that we can give them.
Yes. If viewers have symptoms of COVID-19, what should they do?
So the moment somebody realizes they may have one or two of the symptoms, the current teachings are that you self-isolate around with obviously nobody around for at minimum 7 days, monitoring your symptoms. On the 7th day, they're recommending that you go and get swabbed. The reason for that is in those first 7 days, if you do go get swabbed early, you may test negative where at the time you're actually positive but just don't have the symptoms, and you haven't built up the virus within your body to be picked up in the testing. So the ideal is to wait 7 days at minimum in self-isolation, and then go and get tested on the 7th/8th day,
Yes.
and then wait for those results.
So, we would like to thank you for your time today, and I think from all of us, a very big special thank you for all the hard work that you guys put in. You are definitely celebs in our eyes.
Thank you for having myself and the team from Medi Response on the show with you guys. Really appreciate getting the word out there to the public.
No, definitely. Donovan, take us home.
This was a very special episode indeed. Thanks again to all the frontline workers. Thank you for joining us for another season of Racing with Celebs. We hope that you have enjoyed it just as much as we did. Don't worry, we will be back with Season 3 early in the new year. For more information on the series or our sponsors, please visit our Facebook page, Racing with Celebs, or our website, racingwithcelebs.co.za. Till next time, keep it safe. Asja.
Hey, don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video.